Hello everybody, welcome back to C6 Corvettes in rather frigid Sarasota, Florida today. I'm not wearing all this to look cool, even though I do, but it is cold. It was like 38 degrees when I left my house this morning, and even with the heat on in the shop, man, Florida blood, no likey cold weather. Anyway, today we're going to talk about one of the problems that we see over and over again with C6 Corvettes, and we're going to get into it right now. So one of the problems that we see over and over again with C5, but really more so C6 Corvettes in our shop is when they come in for electrical diagnosis, or the tire pressure monitoring system isn't working, or systems aren't talking to one another, or the shock deletes don't work, there's almost always one thread that ties that all together. And my first question when somebody calls me in having these problems and I can't even see the car is, does your car have an aftermarket radio? Because what we are finding through many years of experience is that no matter how well an aftermarket radio is installed in a C6, certain systems in the car tend not to like it. Now, there is a reason for this, and I'm going to go into that kind of with you on a shallow level. We don't do radio installs here. We don't do radio changes here, because we don't want to hack into the wiring of your car unless we absolutely have to. So I'm going to be talking from my experience on this side of fixing these cars, and I can't speak to specific radios or brands or anything like that. But I'm going to share with you the knowledge I have gained in trying to work around some of the problems we have seen being caused by these radios, okay? Above and beyond the obvious problems of hooking into wrong wiring, breaking plastic bits that aren't available in the aftermarket, like your shifter bezel when you're trying to put a new stereo in. That's anybody, that's any car. In this car in particular, in the C6, if you change out the factory radio, you're going to lose features. You're going to lose, if you have steering wheel control buttons, you're going to lose that feature. If you have OnStar that you actually ever want to use, that probably won't work. And unless your radio is set up for it from the factory for the Corvette, your factory amplifier isn't going to work in the system either. But that isn't the real problem. The real problem is that all of the data links and CAN buses, basically all of the neurons, the brain of your car, all of those messages from all the different systems that have to talk to each other to make your car work properly, run through, by and large, the radio. So when you remove that radio, even if you put the bestest in the world, coolest radio in there from Sony or Kenwood or Alpine or whoever, if it doesn't provide those data links and those CAN bus routes, things aren't going to talk to one another. Your tire pressure monitoring system is not going to talk to your body control module, your EBCM. You're not going to have things like your alerts, your chimes, stuff like that. If you have active suspension, oftentimes that will interrupt the function of your active suspension. And once that's interrupted, it can be very difficult to find your way back as a mechanic or as a technician to get those systems working again, because you're going to have to go wire by wire throughout the dash in a wiring harness about that thick to try to figure out what didn't get hooked up. Now, in my research for this video, there are some modules available now with specific wiring pigtails and specific features that are meant to solve this problem in the Corvette. I know Corvette America, or Top Flight as they're now known, sells them. I have no experience with them, but according to their literature, those modules basically are like the patch that you put in so that when you do put an aftermarket radio into your car, that you don't lose all of your features, and more importantly, that vital communication between systems. To be clear, I have no experience with these modules. I am merely doing research online, just like you could do, and the manufacturer and the seller, Corvette America, say that these modules solve the problem. I have not personally used them, so do your own research and make your own decisions. My overall gut feeling, and this, again, I'm a low-tech guy. I'm not an electronics wizard. If you ever watched me try to use a smartphone, you'd understand that no, this man, not meant for that. I wouldn't change the radio because I want things to continue to work without having to fight them or spend extra money to make them work. However, if you're a stereo, an audiophile who wants, they need their Apple CarPlay, they need this, they need that, totally cool. Just be aware and do your due diligence and do your research so that any of these modules that might solve the problem of a lack of communication in your car are included in and installed with and installed correctly when you do your new stereo. So that's basically just what I wanted to talk to you about today is be forewarned. They're very easy to get. A lot of these, stereos have gotten so cheap. You can go on Amazon and have your choice for like under $200. But be aware of what you may be doing inadvertently by installing that if you don't know exactly what you're doing. So please be careful. I just wanted to share that with you today because I know going into the holidays, a lot of people may be like asking for radios for Christmas from their spouse or their loved ones or whatever. Be aware of this on your C6 because if you start having problems, it's going to be very difficult to make them go away with a lack of communication. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you soon.